I felt so tired.
I'm right there with you. I'm exhausted every day, man. I don't even remember what sleep is. The only time I get sleep is Friday nights when I go to bed at like 9 o'clock and wake up at 9 the next day.
Yeah.
You guys really talking me into kids and stuff here. Thanks. Keep doing it.
It's not the kids, man. It's the job. Like I said, like I told you before we started, dude, my kids are amazing, dude. I got no issues with my kids. I mean, they've been, I don't even think you guys have heard them. They're literally sitting like 10 feet from me the whole time. They don't.
Oh, really?
Do they like watching you?
Yeah, my other son, he'll come up and like I'm sure you guys saw him.
I saw it. Yeah, I watched one of your shows. Yeah.
Yeah, he always comes up and like likes to mess. He likes to get his face on camera. But yeah, they're right there, literally playing video games right now, just doing nothing. They're very well behaved, surprisingly, because I know I was a complete shit to my parents. So.
Oh man. Well, what's that? Episode 4.
Episode 4.
It goes by fast.
It does.
Oh, Matt, I did want to ask you. So I know like Fantasy Roundtable, when we were putting up our episodes on there, we were going to like Spotify and Stitcher and stuff.
Yes.
And Devy Debate is not right now.
It is should be on Spotify now. It just got approved the other day. Yeah, I got the email from it. I think. See, I can't do it unless I exit out of here to go back. But Stitcher's the only one I need to try and figure out. I sent them an email, but I haven't looked back into it. But I know it's on, because the weird thing is it shows on here that it's not even been approved on Apple, but it's up on Apple. It's been up on Apple for a while now, so I don't know. But Spotify, it just got approved on there. And then we have to hit a certain amount of downloads before we can go to iHeartRadio and stuff like that. But I mean, we're already sitting at, I looked at it yesterday, and I want to say episode 2 was 50 downloads, and then episode 3 jumped up to 92. So
wow,
it moved up a little bit after that. So yeah, I'll double check it.
I just had some people asking about it that don't have iPhones, so I figured.
Gotcha.
I don't know anything about that stuff, so
yeah, I don't.
I love the intro, by the way.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't understand any of that shit. Like it says, because like I know you said the roundtable's on Spotify, but like every time I try and pull up the link, it says that the link doesn't work for the roundtable. So I don't even know how to to access it on Spotify to see what the downloads and everything are on there. But I know with this, because Red Circle, it shows you which one. Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't like Red Circle, but it's free. So that's what I've been using now. Because I used to use everything through Spreaker, and they would do everything for you. You pay them, they do everything for you, everything gets set up, and then they show you the statistics and everything like easily. They email you stuff, show you where you're growing, where you're not. You can find out like everything from, like we had, when I used to use Spreaker for the roundtable, like we were, for whatever reason, very big in the Isle of Man and Australia, which I thought was kind of weird. We had a lot of downloads coming from there, and I just love being able to see that stuff, but Red Circle is what I've been using now, because the network we're with Roundtable uses it and it's free. So I've just been kind of rolling with it for now.
I've got I use Podbean for my solo show. I'm looking at the Devy Debate Apple Podcast or Apple Podcast, and we got 3 ratings of 5 stars. So that's good.
One of them was me. So,
oh yeah,
was it? Oh, okay. Well, that's the thing. We don't like. I always forget. Like you've got to push that out there, because I do. The roundtable, the roundtable, I think we're at 144 now, but that's also 3 years in, and it's constant. Hey guys, because a lot of people don't think about it. They're like, even on mine, I forget to talk about it on the roundtable. Like, hey, rate, review, and subscribe. And a lot of podcasts you listen to, they'll say it at the end of every episode because it's big. Like the more obviously rates and reviews you get, the more you're seen.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I forget about it. I know with the roundtable too, I'm not even gonna lie. We got a bunch of them when I did the Saquon Barkley thing. I was like, hey, rate and review the thing, and I'll give you this signed Penn State's and Saquon Barkley jersey. And we got 80 reviews on that one thing alone. So,
got to get some Guy Scott stuff.
I got football cards. I've got football, old football cards that, like Randy Moss, and I don't have anything signed, but I have nice cards.
I won't even lie, Austin. It's been offered to me, but I told him I'd wait right now. I'm not gonna push it. His dad said he'd hook me up with the signed G. Scott Jr. jersey.
As long as you're not giving him tattoos in exchange, I think you're okay.
Yeah. No,
sorry.
Speaking of G. Scott and looking at those guys, them not playing, I was looking at Andrew Luck's stats, and he didn't have a elite freshman season. And you look at a lot of these profiles, and it's not uncommon for somebody to do nothing. But
we can answer questions, Zero Destroyer. If you got a question, what you got?
Oh, I didn't
realize
we're
on YouTube. Yeah,
we're
on YouTube.
Oh, this is the after show. Oh,
yeah. I put it up on there.
Yeah,
my bad.
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
We'll
take
something.
Questions. Go ahead, Zero Destroyer. If you got questions for us, I didn't even realize we were recording. But anyway, I don't think it's uncommon for. I'm trying to think of like profiles right now, but because I was looking at Andrew Lux, I was like, oh, he wasn't just dominant his freshman year, and so maybe there's still hope for Fleming. And I mean, it disappoints me so much that you don't like Fleming.
I think he'll be fine. It worries me when you're not.
He's literally one of the highest rated wide receiver prospects ever.
What worries me. Again, I think we talked about it on the first or second episode. Him being at Ohio State, I think, is the best thing for him because of the way Brian Hartline teaches that position. Mm-hmm. What worries me is that he's going to be too much in relying on his speed and everything, and that's going to turn him into the Deshaun Jackson, Henry Ruggs roles, which is great for an NFL team, but it's not great for us fantasy, and that's the way that I look at it. I'm not saying he won't be a great NFL wide receiver. I look at it fantasy-wise. I've been having some trouble. I have 3 spots open. Who should I sit? A.J. Brown, Allen Robinson, Mike Thomas, or Keenan Allen. I'm sitting A.J. Brown.
Yeah, I'm sitting A.J. Brown.
Well, see, for me, so I do rankings for the roundtable. We have a Discord channel. You can stand up, buddy. It's so fine. It's okay. We have rankings for the roundtable channel, and I do projections and everything for that. I actually have this week, Devontae Adams came out as my number 1 wide receiver. Allen Robinson came out as my number 2. So I'm big. Fuck, I gotta pull it back up. I don't know. I messed it up anyways. I kept messing up my rankings.
Well, I feel like it's simple math. You got 3 teams that are going to be pass heavy, and you got David Montgomery's Vikings. Out. So you got to think that the Bears are going to pass a little bit more.
Third worst pass defense right now on the year. Vikings on Monday Night Football is Allen Robinson.
Do you guys have any takes on? I am such a big Ryan Nall fan. Like I'm always talking about Ryan Nall, and I cannot believe that Chicago will not give him the ball.
It helps that David Montgomery is unfortunately kind of sucking. So, but yeah, it's just a Zero Destroyer.
Is he paying you to say this?
No,
I know, right?
I've literally never heard of the guy before.
He's got the Ryan Nall signed jersey is about to go up behind Felix on episode 5.
I have Ryan Nall on every single fantasy team, and I thought after Tariq Cohen went down that Ryan Nall, Ryan Nall is going to be the pass catcher because he was a tight. There was a question as to whether or not he was going to play tight end when he came in the NFL, and he kind of just settled into an H-back role, and now he's a running back. I cannot wait to see this dude play. So anyway, Fantasy Channel.
Felix is a big fan of Antonio Brown. He would tell you no. I do not think Antonio Brown is going to have a huge fantasy season. I think he's going to be a wide receiver 3 at best the rest of the year. That's just my opinion on him. We saw bad game against New Orleans. I'm not taking that for much, but I still think with Godwin, Gronk, and Mike Evans there, you're asking a lot for all of those guys to be fantasy viable. Brady's not going to throw the ball 500 times like Winston did.
I mean, I wish I could look at the stats, right in front of me, but they passed to Antonio Brown quite a bit for that to be his first game, and
I want to say
100 air yards.
Yeah, I want to say he was on the field for 80-something% of the snaps, is what they said.
80?
And he got targeted. Yeah, he was on the field a lot. He just wasn't getting the ball. And again, I don't know how much of that was New Orleans defense too. They played really good.
Yeah. Look, I have a rebuilding fantasy team, and that's 0-8 or 0-7, whatever it is. And I have not dropped or traded Antonio Brown. It's like the one player that I hung on to because nobody wanted to give me a second round draft pick for him. And I was like, well, I'm not dropping him because I think that next year Antonio Brown could be a wide receiver too.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to squeeze out Mike Evans. It's not a question of 8. I don't even consider Mike Evans in the equation.
No, I don't either.
They're just going to squeeze him out.
I mean, Scotty Miller might have more receiving yards this year than Mike Evans does. So no, I'm not dropping Antonio Brown. I still like Antonio Brown, and I think that his game, if he wasn't crazy, I think that his game would age well. I thought that Antonio Brown was somebody who could play until he was 40-something years old.
I mean, I'm a huge Steelers fan, so I watched him for years. And
I mean, I had a team. I want to say I lose track of time, but my wide receivers in this 16-team dynasty league were Antonio Brown, DJ Moore, Odell Beckham Jr., AJ Green, and I'm forgetting the fifth. But that's a 16-team league. Who was the fifth? Anyway, I was like, this team is gonna, the next 3 years I'm gonna dominate, and I traded 2 firsts for Antonio Brown, and that didn't work out. But I still believe in his talent, and if he were sane, if Antonio Brown were sane, I would say that he easily could play in the league for the next 5+ years, because that's how highly I think of him as a route runner and separation creator. So
full disclosure, though, and whoever asked that, I don't play any redraft. So if you're asking redraft, I'm not like a great person to ask.
I don't even know what redraft is. I feel like fantasy is like, if you think of Inception and like the 4 levels, like C2C is like limbo, and the first level, the first stage. Well, just reality. Reality is redraft. The first level of dreaming is like a keeper league. Second level, dynasty. Third level, deeper dynasty, and then limbo is C2C leagues. That's the only league I'm playing. Those are the only leagues I'm playing in coming next year. So
I do feel bad. I traded Journey Brown to Eric Quartz like 3 weeks ago. The only league I had him in, and I made a move for Kenny Golladay and sent him Journey Brown, and he literally texted me like 10 minutes after that news broke.
Journey. I took Journey like in the late first round in both of my C2Cs. He was my building block player. He was my building block player. And, now
I got him. So in the Nerds C2C, so my first 3 rounds or first like 5 rounds in Nerds C2C just went like amazingly. So I picked like 110 and
tell us about it.
What's his name? Georgia receiver. Pickens fell to me. So I took Pickens, and then on the way back, I traded down like 10 spots and took Journey Brown at like the 212. I was ecstatic about that.
You know who George Pickens reminds me of? And I might have said this on the show before, but he is Justin Blackman. He is Justin Blackman. Yes.
Who is my number 1 wide receiver prospect of all time? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Blackman was so physical. Justin Blackman was not an elite athlete whatsoever, but he was super physical, and I feel like George.
It's that my ball thing, which is like my favorite. So I do think wide receiver is like my position that I kind of like generally do better at, and I'm looking for a guy that plays mad, and that's why I like JSN so much. He plays that. He's got that my ball mentality. I'm not saying the other guys don't, but he has it in spades. So that's I agree. Pickens is like that guy.
Does it worry you at all that
he got kicked out of a game last year because he was too?
That's what I was about to say. Does it worry you at all? He also seems to have the off-field stuff that Blackman does as well.
I mean,
you gotta control it.
Well, that's why I comped him to Blackman, is for those 2 reasons: his physicality and his penchant for nonsense. I mean, so.
He's got a bit of Des Bryant in him too, which I like a lot.
Yeah,
Des was another guy that I'd love. I'd hate the Cowboys, but I love Des.
They're both Oklahoma State. Blackman and I get Oklahoma State and Oregon State mixed up so many times, and I'm like, I can't remember who went where. But have you guys seen Tenet? The movie Tenet?
Yes, I loved it.
Was it good?
I loved it. I'll be 100% honest. So I am and his name just jumped out of my head, which makes me not feel like I'm a massive Christopher Nolan fan. It's definitely hard to keep up with. I will put it that way. But it is something by the end of the movie, if you like movies that are going to make you think, there's a lot of action, great storyline, great acting. I mean, I I think Robert Pattinson's a great actor to begin with. John Washington, I think, is amazing. I loved him in Ballers, even better in this. I think those two guys play well off each other. I mean, it's a great movie in my opinion.
I mean, I hear it's coming out on streaming December 15th. So
gotcha.
I'm gonna wait, another 30 days or so. That movie theater industry is, I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, I was like, oh, I wish I had the money to buy a drive-in movie theater because that's how people would see movies now. They could go to a drive-in theater. And it's just a field. I mean, that's all a drive-in movie theater is a field with a big-ass screen. So.
See, it don't work in places like Texas, though, because you go to a field, and then not only are you, like, it's 110 degrees outside, you're getting eaten by mosquitoes. There's all kinds. Like, I mean, it really hasn't taken a hit here that bad. The movie theaters were closed, I think, for, like, 3 months, and then they opened back up. They just have it, like, sectioned off. You can only sit in certain spots. I think that's probably the biggest part that's hurting them. Is because you can't fill up a movie theater now because of COVID. They separate you out a certain amount. But I've only gone and seen the one movie. I made my wife take. Well, I didn't make her, but we went and saw Tenet, and I know she didn't want to see it, but
Yeah, I really want to see it, and I really want to see the new Batman movie, but that got pushed back to 2022.
Yeah,
2022, the Robert Pattinson Batman movie.
Yeah, I know. So. I can't wait. I'm a big fan. I geek out about all that stuff. I'm excited.
If you are justice, do not lie. That's the trailer. Didn't anybody see the trailer? No.
Yes.
Oh, the Robert Pattinson Batman? No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's the trailer. I don't know who that is. I think it might be the Riddler that's talking.
Yeah, it's the one guy from. I always think of him from There Will Be Blood, where he plays the creepy pastor kid.
Yeah. And I don't.
He's a great actor too.
Yeah.
They've got a bunch of big names that you got him in there. Colin Farrell's playing the Penguin. Who is it? Someone else is playing one of the mobsters that's pretty well known too. You got Zoe. Is it Zoe
Kravitz?
Yeah, is playing Catwoman. Yeah, they got who I can't remember who's playing Alfred, but yeah, they've got a pretty good cast.
It's a lot of bad guys for one film.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright is in the Jeffrey Wright.
Gordon. He's going to be the perfect Gordon, I think. Yeah, he's perfect.
Jeffrey Wright is one of my favorite actors. I first saw him in Shaft. Now, Jeffrey Wright is a Broadway actor. I first saw him in Shaft, and he played Peoples. And Christian Bale, speaking of Batman, Christian Bale plays I don't know if y'all seen Shaft, but
I haven't know.
Yeah, it's Samuel L. Jackson, Christian Bale, and Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright plays the main bad guy in that movie, and I've always liked Jeffrey Wright plays Felix Frankfurter in all the Bond movies.
Yeah,
I really like him.
I like him in what's it called? Westworld.
I've never seen that.
I've only seen the first season of it, but yeah, he was pretty good in it.
Dude, that twist in the first season with him, oh my God, that gets you right there.
I had to go back and rewatch it, but yes, it did. It did shock me.
What happened? I mean, I don't.
It's honestly not even like.
Are you ever gonna watch it? Because I don't want. It's
I don't even know where I would find it.
HBO.
I haven't heard that show. I heard of that show.
Oh, dude, if you like, it's like a show about. I don't know how to describe it. Like, what are they called?
It's like a virtual reality world that's like tailored to like. It's like a theme park that's like tailored to your experience. So like all like the robots like look like humans and they like interact with you like how you want them to interact with you. So like you can go to like the brothel and just like
fuck as many women as you want.
All these like robots,
kill everybody. Yeah. And they build the robots to be like actual humans too. So when you like shoot them, it's not like.
Yeah, like the brain.
It's actual blood and shit that comes out of them. Like they look real human. And the whole point of the show is like them gaining awareness, kind of thing. Like the AI stuff where they gain awareness. And there's some twist in that first season that it's just total.
Is it on HBO Max? I got HBO Max.
Yes, it should be.
I just have it on my Xbox, so whatever that works for.
Yeah, it's HBO Max. Yeah, I've watched the first. I'll tell you this: if you watch it. The first couple episodes are, just give it time. Like the first couple episodes, a lot of talking and getting into it. But what is it? Sir Anthony Hopkins? He's amazing in that. I think it's a lot of story. The first couple episodes, you see a little bit of
Hopkins, like from
Hannibal.
Hannibal.
Yeah, he's in it. Silence of the Lambs. He's in there as well. He's one of the main characters.
Anthony Hopkins and Jeffrey Wright are in something. Yeah, I'm gonna watch.
There's what's his name? What's his name is pretty good in that too.
There's like a bunch of those guys. that are like in all those HBO movies that are in it too.
Yeah, he plays Cyclops in the X-Men movies. I can't think of his name at the moment. It just jumped out of my head.
I can think. I know who you're talking about.
James Marsden. Yeah, he's in it as well. God, what's the other guy? Is it Ed Helms?
No, Ed Helms isn't in it.
No, yeah, that's just a funny
Luke
guy.
Hemsworth is in it. Tessa Thompson's in it.
Ed Harris? I love Tessa Thompson.
Ed Harris is in it.
Yeah. Ed Harris is the other guy. He's in that as well.
Apparently Aaron Paul's in it. I apparently am not to that season yet. But
he's in the third season. I have not watched the third season yet. I just finished the second. Westworld, yeah.
Dude,
I'm telling you, if you like science fiction stuff with great story, you'll like it. It's really
I like that. I mean, the only thing I've watched on HBO is Hard Knocks. I mean, that's it.
You're missing like
Ballers.
Everything.
Watch The Wire.
I've never seen Ball. I know what Ballers is. I've never seen it. I've never seen The Wire.
Dude, you would love The Wire. Never watched The Sopranos?
I know. What?
Boardwalk Empire?
No.
Sopranos is like one of the best shows of all time.
Game of Thrones? You never watched Game of Thrones?
No. I wouldn't even watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I mean, Game of Thrones is okay. I like it. It's not like, I mean, you got what's it?
So HBO is like, I guess, where television happens now.
It's been where television's happened for a while. I think
the only television show that I watched from start to finish in the last year really was Dave, Lil Dicky's television show.
Yeah, I watched it. I like that. Oh, she was funny.
Yeah, it was funny.
I love that.
It was funny. I watched the freestyles that he did on that show. Like I watch those from time to time on YouTube. So
yeah, I didn't realize he was that good and that funny. I'd seen one of his ones. I guess the one that really made him famous that he did whatever that was years ago. And then I was kind of hesitant to watch the show. And then my friend was like, "Dude, you got to watch it. It's hilarious." It's like, okay.
Well, FX does television very, very well. From Louis. Yeah. Louis was one of my favorite shows. Atlanta was one of my favorite shows. And I was like, well, I didn't even know who Lil Dicky was actually until like watching that show. And I was like, oh, this dude, I would buy an album from his if I could find one. So,
yeah, you gotta watch.
Are we releasing this?
Yeah, it's still recording live. So. Yeah, it's live. Okay. It'll be up. On
it was my idea to record the after show. So
that intro we didn't talk about earlier. It was really, really cool though.
It was.
It got me hyped. Like I was like,
kind of go back and watch it.
I'll send you guys because I can send you the video. I'm telling you, with the video, it looks so much better because like I have the whole what's it called? Like from Dodgeball where they're like where it's like, oh, it's a bold strategy, Cotton, like have that in there. I have the Anchorman scene in there linked up with the audio. I have the Zach Wilson highlight, Jahmyr Gibbs highlight. Unfortunately, no Jim Scott stuff. So I have the Justin Fields highlight.
It was cool and it was good to have like a moment to like relax a little bit and to tweet out the link and not to feel like I'm rushing to get back. So I'll send the actual video to you guys. I got to just figure out a way to clip literally like 3 megabytes off it somehow, which I don't know if it's because of the YouTube clips I put in there. I think that's what eats up most of it because it can only be a certain amount that I can upload on the StreamYard.
Okay, that makes sense.
Hey, speaking of StreamYard, so I recorded a show. I guess it was last week, and I recorded 2 interviews, and I didn't know how to record an interview. So basically, what I did was I took my Bluetooth speaker and I put it next to my microphone and recorded it that way, and it was fine. Like but Bruning, Bruning, could I record this audio and then put it into Audacity?
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do. Yeah, so like I used to use like it's weird. Like it's probably easier to pick up my computer, and I have a mess on my table. But like that mixer right there, can you see that?
Yeah. Oh shit!
And everything. That's what I used to use for all of my stuff, and then someone just told me about StreamYard, and then you can literally just after the podcast is done. It gives you the option you can download the video and the recording. And so I just literally download just the audio and I plug it right into Audacity. I cut off that, like beforehand, I was just cutting off that 30 seconds of the music that it plays with the 30-second countdown. And I would add an exit on the end of the episodes that I created as well. But yeah, that's all I do for all my podcasts. I just download the recording and it makes it, again, I don't edit. as much as other people do. I think it's just I don't like to edit because I think people sometimes think you're fake if you do that. So if I say something wrong, I say something wrong. I'm gonna say wrong things. So I leave it as unless someone says something like I won't lie. We've had a guest on before who said something that does not need to be repeated. So I went back and edited that part out. But outside of that, I won't like put, they made an Anne Frank joke. It was very uncalled for. And so I edited that part out. But outside of that, I just upload and put in whatever. And then. Well, there you go.
I have that effect.
We got a lot of those people jumping in here today. So I didn't read it. My bad. I should have looked at that before I read it. I just saw something.
Who's watching this.
Like, I don't know. It shows we got a bunch of people on YouTube. That's all I have it up on right now is YouTube. People watching, but yeah. So then I just save it and then I literally just plug it right into Audacity. Just add the intro, exit, and then upload it. It takes like maybe 5 minutes altogether. It's nice.
Well, I'm gonna do that next time because I interviewed Brandon and I interviewed Chris Moxley, a guy on Twitter about N'Keal Harry, and all these things. We're laughing because inappropriate comments in the questions. We'll take fantasy questions, people.
You could argue that is fantasy. Maybe we should be specific fantasy football.
We should specify.
No, dude. It's insane.
We should specify. But anyway, I interviewed them and then it did. I mean, it did fine, but I'll use StreamYard next time to make the audio clear. And I do edit a lot because I throw in like pop culture references, and sometimes I throw in other stuff. Like this week, I threw in Russell Wilson when he was saying Mr. Unlimited, Unlimited. I threw all that stuff.
Well, yeah. See, when I did it solo, I used to do that, but now, I mean, with the one that I do obviously every day in the roundtable, like we usually go for like an hour and a half, and it's just so hard to like. In the past, when I did it by myself, that's what I do. I'd go back and re-listen to the entire episode. I'm like, oh, this is a perfect place. Like I've got over 150 sound drops on my computer of like different stuff, like the Anchorman one that I put in the intro and all that other stuff that I would plug in by myself because you want to bring a little bit more of like that entertainment value. But when you have multiple people, like you're getting to play off each other, so that part is kind of. Right. I'm not even looking. If you're looking at a comment, I'm not even on the comment screen anymore. I don't want to know.
Oh my god! Funny comment section. I've never looked at the comment section before, so maybe I need to click off of it. It's when we're doing the real show. Like I'm trying to make sure that I keep it.
You're more responsible than us.
We've had some very interesting ones that I've chose to ignore and not put up on there because I ain't trying to. Like I said, after the past couple ones I've seen, I'm not even going to look at the comments anymore. I got the brand up. If someone posts an actual interesting question, let me know and I'll go put it back.
I know someone did like a Bush 9/11 comment last week.
I didn't read it. That was my bad. I didn't read it. And I clicked. I was like, oh shit, never mind, and I clicked right off of it.
That's a guy that's in like a bunch of my leagues with me. I went to law school with him.
Oh, gotcha.
As soon as I saw Bush 9/11, I texted him. I was like, "Are you in the chat?" Making these comments. He was like, "Yeah."
I'm trying to think if I have any fantasy football questions for you guys. I think I will. I actually think that I would. So next year, in my 16-team league that I always talk about, it's one of my favorite non-C2C leagues. When I can figure out where Najee Harris gets drafted, I might end up trading Jonathan Taylor if I can get that pick plus something else. And I still like Jonathan Taylor, but if Najee Harris goes up to the combine and he has a 100th percentile speed score and he jumps 40 inches and he shows that he's, comparably athletic to Jonathan Taylor, then I might actually do that because I have a team that I'm rebuilding. And then when you're in a deep league, I got a 16-team league, I got a 32-team league. Like depth is everything. Somebody like David Moore is worth something in a 16-team league. I'm starting Scotty Miller every single week. So you need the depth. Let's venture off to the comment section.
Don't do it.
I wouldn't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm in a 16-team heavy IDP league as well, and that's the biggest thing that's killing me this year is not having any decent depth. But it's kind of hard to build it as well.
So So I think the next like niche area is like C2C IDP. Like there's guys that like kind of dance around it, but like no one really like hits that area. Like, like there's not a lot of content out there about it.
Yeah.
I have a couple leagues like that, and it's so hard to like you're literally just like I sort by freshmen, like linebackers. And then I just like, I'm like, okay, like who the fuck? Like outside of like the top, like, like 4 5-star, 4-star guys, like I don't know, like Mikal Jones or whatever from Syracuse is like a big guy this year. That's like a true sophomore. Like I've picked up a bunch of places, and it's like I would have no idea if I didn't just like go to the filters.
Well, yeah, dude, that's what who's in that Pinnacle of Dynasty League? Have you guys heard of that, or Pinnacle of Devy?
Yeah, you're in Pinnacle.
I'm not. No. I know people are. Yeah, is it like a 400 round draft of like
they have 100 player rosters? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's IDP and offense, and I'm just like, dude, that's just too much, man. Like, I don't mind doing IDP on the NFL side, but I don't got enough time to scout defensive players on college sides either. I just don't.
No,
I just don't.
But speaking of using that feature in Fantrax where you can sort by class and sort the statistics, that really highlights players that are like good and that are producing. I found like we talked about the players that we have on our fantasy teams. I found, and I have Ronnie Rivers on every fantasy team, and I actually thought this player was good, and I brought him up in this league that I'm in with Shaq and J-Wack, and Ray is in that league, and
man, roll your eyes even when you say his name.
Anyway, and I brought up his name in that league, and they were like, and everybody was just like shrugging their shoulders at him. But this dude, he's like Austin Eckler to me. And Jim Nagy was talking. I was like, I should have like had a take on Ronnie Rivers early, because I mean, you look at his statistics; he's been productive every single. Like he has like 30 and 40 catch seasons in addition to rushing. At Fresno State, he's going to be a good player. He's going to be somebody drafted on day 3, and is going to go in and be a super productive satellite back. So, oh shoot. Anyway, why are you guys laughing? Are there more comments?
I'm not. I refuse to look. I'm not panning over.
I can't go back down that. I'm good. It's not. I imagine. I see that I've got 6 because it pops a little comment section over here. So I see I have 6 new comments. I'm not going to read them. I don't want to go down that deep hole right now. Not.
If we ever had a what do you call it? A Patreon? Like we could. This is something we could put on the Patreon, the after show.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's not filled with whoever wants to make a love child with one of us, because that's what it is.
If they'll pay me, they can ask me and I'll answer.
I mean, hey, I guess so. Yeah. They have an after hours show going on right now.
Right. I think I really am. I'm about to go to sleep. Yeah, I was going to try to work after this. I don't think I can do it.
I do always listen to the show before I go to bed. Like once Matt posts it, I listen to it.
I listened to it last week, but like this time, I'm just.
I'll make sure to do that quickly. I gotta finish that article up. No, it's all good. I gotta work anyways. Apparently, since Garrett and them talked about that, that mock draft we did. Apparently, we got people asking for it now. So now I gotta hurry up and finish it. And people hadn't sent me their write ups. So I'm like,
somebody didn't take Justin Fields number 2.
Raju took Travis Etienne 2nd in a super flex draft.
I know. I mean, his flex draft. I'm just like
his reason. I don't know if you read his reason. It makes sense because his opinion was that Etienne. Well, his opinion was Etienne is the only elite running back in this class, and he wants an elite running back where he felt he could get another quarterback later. Not necessarily untrue, but then again, we all went and took all the rest of the quarterbacks, so he's not going to get one of those guys.
So
Trask. I know I took Mac Jones. You took Wilson.
That's because he hasn't made the. Yeah, I took Wilson and I took
So
Kyle
Lawrence
in the 1 quarterback league.
Lawrence, Fields, Lance, Wilson, Mac Jones, and Kyle Pitts all went. Those are the quarterbacks right there. So then he didn't end up getting the quarterback he thought he was going to get. But I see his point. I wouldn't do it. I would take Justin Fields too. There's no way I'm taking Etienne. Unless your starting running backs are, I don't know, David Montgomery, and I'm trying to think of another really not great running back. Naheem Hines, then I'm probably going Etienne.
I made the mistake of in a 14-team super flex league where we draft the draft picks. I took Kyler Murray and I took the 101 draft pick for last year, and I ended up taking in a super flex league, and I took Jonathan Taylor over Joe Burrow, and I'm like, I'm not doing that again. Again, you got to take the quarterback.
I think it's really league dependent. I have some leagues where like the quarterbacks fall, and like I know that going into the draft, so I'm like I have one league where I got Mahomes in like the late second. Like
was it
when he came out? Yeah, when he came out as a rookie.
Yeah, but I don't think he was getting that much hype though. That's the problem.
He went 11th overall or 13th.
I know, but I remember. I know the Texans traded up with the effing Browns to take him when the Browns needed a quarterback. I mean, we were starting Brandon Weeden at that point, and they traded up and they got Patrick Mahomes. But I remember when that happened because I used to go to like the drafts with a bunch of friends and we would bet on who the picks were and all that stuff, whoever got the most right, all that stuff. And we were all like completely shocked when Patrick Mahomes, I don't remember anybody talking about Patrick Mahomes.
Matt Waldman.
Okay.
Matt Waldman.
I mean, I don't think he was any worse than like Justin Herbert as like a prospect, but they went the similar range in all my leagues. Like Herbert,
I think that I like if there is a Patrick Mahomes type player, to me, it's Zach Wilson.
Mac Jones? Did you say Mac Jones?
It's not Mac Jones. It's not Mac Jones.
Kyle Trask.
Kyle Trask is throwing the ball down the field. Like I'm like, I do like Kyle Trask because of his frame, because of his. We got a lot of quarterbacks that are throwing the ball downfield, and like we never have this. That's what you always look for.
That's what I talked about though in like episode 2. Like the offenses are becoming like you either hit like something quick and let a receiver do work in space, or you're going deep because you're either going to get like of the 3 possibilities, like really it's either pass interference, completion, or incompletion. Basically. So it's like 2 out of the 3 are good. So
that's why I like Justin Fields because he throws.
I think there's that emphasis.
Yeah, Fields is going to be someone who is like boringly good to me, like Fields at the next level.
In my opinion, Fields is the next Patrick Mahomes because he can throw off platform and he's more athletic than Mahomes, running wise at least.
Yeah, I don't agree. Thank you, Austin. I don't agree with that.
Yes, he is.
Either.
Kind of shake his head.
He doesn't want to be Patrick Mahomes at all. He reminds me. I was trying to think of who he reminds me of. And
I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes. I said he could be the next Patrick Mahomes, as in like throw. He's not going to throw the ball 70 yards down the field. I'm talking about throwing off platform, though. He can throw off platform.
I don't think he even throws off platform as well as Trevor Lawrence does.
Yeah,
he doesn't. He does. So for me, like when I watch the two of them, like the thing that really separates them, because I like going into this year, I was like Trevor Lawrence is like obvious number 1, and Fields has at least made it close for me. Like he has looked really good. He just doesn't like have that arm. Like Trevor Lawrence can put like nothing lower half into a throw and put it there. I don't really think Fields has that capability. Like he has a good arm.
Yeah, right.
But he's not like that,
He's not a pure thrower like Steve McNair or Warren Moon or
he doesn't
or Josh Allen. Like he doesn't have, and I think it's the way that stood out to me too. And I think it's as big as he is. He doesn't throw with a lot of velocity. Like what I mean, velocity in his arm action. Like the ball doesn't have to
either.
No, it's true. I mean, he's smart. Like I said, he's closed that gap for me, even with Trevor Lawrence playing incredibly well again this year. I can't like in good conscience like watch the two of them and say that like Fields. I would rather have Fields than Lawrence. But I know you're the OSU guy, so.
Well, no, I mean, I still have Florence. I'm combining them now. I still have Lawrence 1, but I think I have Fields is 1 for me too. I don't think there's anything that really separates them. Like I agree that Lawrence has the better arm, but I also think if you go back and look at that Clemson game, you see Fields put the zip on the ball you need to some of the receivers because he was playing defenders that actually were within his wide receivers, right? Like they were actually keeping it close. They weren't so wide open. Like that's the thing. Like you look at I can't remember Rutgers game. I watched the entire Rutgers game. He doesn't have to put any zip on the ball because Chris Olave's already beaten his man by 10 yards.
Well,
so
I
all
don't know if he can, though. Like,
I
don't know
if he
can. How many franchise quarterbacks are there in this draft?
I mean, I say 4.
Like next 10 years, your next 10 years, you're going to play with this quarterback.
4. I think for me, a solid 4. I think there could be 6, but there's a solid 4 I would bet would be good. And Lawrence, Fields, Wilson, and Lance for me.
Right. Yep. I agree
Those
with
are
you.
the four.
I could see Lance being good, and I could see him being done in 3 years.
I agree with
I
that
honestly,
too. I agree with that too. And I think, unfortunately, it's because of COVID. It's because he didn't get a season to develop. And that developmental time for a quarterback is key, because they got to be able to see the defenses and know what they're going to do and be able to, react and throw the ball without thinking about it. This dude hasn't played football in a year, played one game, but he does have all the physical tools, man. That dude can throw. He's huge. He runs. He's an awkward runner, but he can run.
the thing that he has working, he has two things that I actually was going to say tonight. We can answer this question first.
Yeah, finally got a decent one. I decided to pull the comments up. And
Is
it a good
dynasty
fantasy
or
trade? Josh Jacobs, Will Fuller, and James Conner for Henry, Juju, and Hunt. Is this dynasty or redraft, Baller? What were you saying, though, Austin? Finish your thought.
Yeah, go ahead. Finish your thought, Austin.
So the two things that Lance has working in his favor this year, one, he has a guy that already came from his school that did it. So I think that lessens like the concerns about like difficulty of like, schedule or whatever. Yeah. And you can't really tell me like, because of COVID and like guys being out and like all that stuff, like Zach Wilson's not really playing anybody this year either.
No,
so I think that helps him in terms of like teams are going to be like, well, like Zach Wilson really hasn't played anybody either. And so I think that is going to help him.
Better competition.
It's about reps for me. And Zach Wilson is getting the reps. Trey Lance. We're talking about one season. Trey Lance played one season.
Here's the thing.
Wilson, I mean, he's played more, but he only has the 1 year.
Well, but he was good his freshman year too. He was breaking records his freshman year. He just didn't play a full season. And I'm pretty sure he played like 8 or 9 games his sophomore year as well. Like he just hasn't put up the year he's put up this year. So redraft for Baller. Is it good to trade Josh Jacobs, Will Fuller, and James Conner for Henry, Juju, and Hunt? I'm assuming that's Derrick Henry.
I was assuming Hunter, but
if it's Derrick Henry, or even if it's Hunter Henry, I'm still taking the Jacobs side, if I'm being honest. Will Fuller with Deshaun Watson, he's been healthy all year. I think he's sitting as a top 15 wide receiver, and I'd rather have Connor over Hunt. As much as I love the Browns, I'm taking Connor.
And in a redraft, I mean, you kind of need like those running backs. So I'm taking you need that immediate production. And Will Fuller has as high a ceiling as any wide receiver in the NFL. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with Jacobs and Fuller and James Conner. Oh, what I can't. How has James Conner been playing?
He's been good up until last week.
Yeah, he's getting the touches.
Yeah, it's just last week. Everybody thought against Dallas.
Remember that week 1 when everybody thought that Benny Snell was going to take over?
Yeah. Well, it's because he got hurt. Connor got hurt. Yeah.
The thing about Connor, you watch him and he's like the most stiff football player I've ever seen in my life. Like the dude, he can't touch his toes, and I'd be shocked if he can get like below mid shin. Like the dude is just so stiff.
I remember watching him at Pitt. Yeah. And do you all know Alan True, who works for 24/7 Sports? Alan True he's like a recruiter. He's got a blue check mark on his name. I went to school with Alan. He was actually my quarterback in flag football. And there's been 2 times where I said, Alan, who is this player? And like, tell me about their background. And one time was James Conner. The time before that was LaShawn McCoy. But it just happens to be 2 Pitt running backs. It's like, who is this player? And you could just tell that they were. James Conner was a beast at Pitt. Like, I think he played DN some games. That dude was a beast.
I don't know about that, but he was great there.
No, I think he did. I think he had some defensive statistics.
Trey Lance, I hate that everybody keeps talking about because Carson Wentz did it, he can do it. That is not a fair, because everybody said the same shit about, was it Jacob Eason? Not Jacob Eason. Who is it? Eason Stick. What has he done? Nothing. I mean, Lance is not going
to have the draft capital that Trey Lance has.
Right. So. Trey Lance will have the draft. But see, one thing I hate about draft capital, even though I do use it sometimes in draft capital doesn't matter if you don't have the skills to be good at the NFL level. It just means you're going to get more opportunity. Doesn't mean you're going to be good. Like everybody, look, I have nothing against Henry Ruggs. I think he's going to be a good NFL wide receiver. He's not going to be good for fantasy. He's just not. And he's got the draft capital. And so everybody started talking about, okay, well, Henry Ruggs, he's the first wide receiver drafted. So he has to be one of the top 3 wide receivers for fantasy. No, he doesn't. He's not going to be he's going to be Deshaun. In best ball, draft Henry Ruggs all day. The weeks that he goes off for you is going to be great. I would say 11 out of the 16 weeks, he's not going to do much for you.
So you don't like the fact that people say that because Carson Wentz could do it. Yeah,
Lance can do it.
I agree with that. Just because
I don't think Lance is accurate.
Too many people scout helmets and not players.
Yes, I agree.
And not players. Like that's why you look at my C2C leagues, and I have so many like G5 players because like I think that Austin Watkins is a top 10 receiver.
Yeah.
And I put it on Twitter. I said I think I'm going to have Austin Watkins rated ahead of Rashad Bateman. And to me, that's not a hot take at all. And people acted like that was a hot take. That's because you scout helmets and not players.
Well, yeah, that's why everybody hates on Mac Jones because they've never had a successful Alabama quarterback.
What do you think Mac Jones is going to be at the next? Like Mac Jones is not.
I think he's going to be a good quarterback too for fantasy. I'm not saying he's going to be again. I said I think he has a shot of being a long-term quarterback, but I don't put him in my top 4. I put Trey Lance ahead.
Who would you comp him to? Who would you comp him to? On the high end,
I hate comparisons. I don't do comparisons. Like, I'm not good at them.
Best case scenario is Matt Ryan, but I don't think he's that class of a player.
Matt Ryan started 3 years at Boston
College.
But you've also got Mac Jones was behind Tua, who everybody talks about as one of the best quarterbacks to come out of college here in the past couple of years. Outside of the injury, he was the easy one. I think if he doesn't get hurt, there's a serious conversation that he gets taken over Burrow as the number 1 pick last year, even outside of the year that Burrow had. So you're talking about, okay, so he couldn't get past that guy? That's not a fair argument to make. I mean, he beat out Bryce Young, who when coming into this year, and we talked about it in that episode, everybody said Bryce Young's going to start. Mac Jones is not that good. And then he beats him out and does what he's doing. I understand he's got the weapons around him, but you can't take away from the throws he's making. That's my argument.
I feel scarred by some players. Like, now I'm going to reach back here a little bit, okay? Jason White. Do y'all remember Jason White at Oklahoma? You don't remember Jason White?
I think he would have been a good player if his knees didn't like literally explode. Or was his shoulders?
I can't remember what.
I think it was his knees. I think both of his knees.
He was in, exploded. He was in a high flying offense and wasn't himself dynamic. I don't think like Taj Boyd. Taj Boyd was a player that had good statistics, but he was that wide receiver U with Clemson, and so I have a problem when I look at a player and what I see is good players around them, but I don't see the skills set in that player themselves to do it away from that environment. And just so far, like I don't see anything dynamic about Mac Jones's game.
Yeah, but I mean,
we know he's not a mobile quarterback. He's not a rusher. You gotta protect him. Okay, does he have elite arm talent? No. So what are we talking? So we're talking. Okay, X, and now he's gonna be a plus quarterback because he's a good decision maker. I mean that
matters though.
It does matter. It does matter. But we talk about outs. Like I talk about outs using the poker term. When that flop and that river comes, do I have multiple ways to win? And I think that Mac Jones, he doesn't have outs to me. He doesn't have the tool set to say, okay, if he fails at this thing, then he can be good at this other thing. But you take somebody like Trey Lance. Trey Lance he's 6'3", 220 pounds. He's going to run a 4.5 40 at the combine. He can probably throw the ball 70 yards. So there are things like Josh Allen. If he can't throw the ball, he can run it. If he can't run it, he can throw it 70 yards. So
to me, Josh Allen's the outlier. We have not seen guys who are that bad of accuracy.
So is Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert is not an outlier, though. Oregon's offense was not inducive to what his talents were. That was always my biggest argument for Herbert. If you watched him actually play, he was making NFL throws. He made NFL. My biggest thing with Herbert is they want him to be Joe Burrow. They want him to make anticipate. God damn it, I can't say that word. Anticipation throws. That's not Burrow. Burrow is Dak. Burrow will throw it when you're open. When he sees you open, that's when he throws it. And it's because he has – well, that's what I'm saying. But Herbert is Dak. I'm sorry. And because he has that gun, that's what makes up for it, right? And everybody questioned, okay, well, when you go into the NFL, you can't do that. But, yes, you can. And I think he's smarter. I brought this up on a bunch of podcasts this offseason. Everybody kind of threw it back in my face. Herbert won the academic Heisman, which to me talks about how smart he is on and off the field. You listen to the way that his teammates talked about him. They said he is an NFL savant. He understands the NFL game. He's very smart on and off the field. And when I say that, well, that doesn't matter in the NFL. It does, though. It really does. If you understand the game of football and you know the way your routes work and everything, and you know, okay, this is when this guy's going to come open, you can look at it and you can make it happen. He can also do it with his legs. That wasn't the way that Oregon ran. When he played in those big games, he made enough big plays, but because he wasn't that in-your-face Tom Brady guy who's going to yell at you and rile you up, and because he made a couple big mistakes in big games, everybody said he can't do that at the next level. Like, he won't be that guy. For me, it was never about that. I think he showed enough in the games that mattered that he could be that guy at the next level. Just my opinion. That's why I liked him so much. I had him ahead of Tua and still do.
Oh, that's a hot take.
I had Tua as number one.
I had it Burrow, Herbert, Tua for me.
I don't think I had Tua number one. I wasn't really thinking about who I had. I was very apprehensive about Joe Burrow because I know he put up the statistics that he put up, but to me, he reminded me of somebody like Mac Jones, and I'm just like,
okay, so that's what I was going to say. Actually, that's who I compare Mac Jones to, and it's the intelligence that he has. Oh, no, I'm not saying he's going to be Burrow. I'm not saying he's going to be Burrow. I'm saying, like, if I had to say what he could do at the next level, though, it's again the intelligence that they have and the way they anticipate throws is what I'm not comparing him to a Drew Brees, but it's what Drew Brees does, what Tom Brady does. They don't have that athleticism to beat you in different ways, like you were just talking about, Felix. But it's because they know, okay, if I throw this ball right now, and I know that whoever, Michael Thomas for Drew Brees is going to be there right then. It's going to be a completion, and that's what Joe Burrow does, which makes him so successful. And I think that's what Mac Jones can do at the next level.
Did you all see that picture that I posted of Joe Burrow throwing the ball? It's a still frame. Joe Burrow has thrown the ball. It's like halfway in the air, and the wide ball is here. Like this. And you're like, all right, what's going to happen? Wide receiver is completely turned around. It was from Mark Schofield, and it was a complete catch. Yeah.
I saw that. I saw that live. Yeah, and that's my point. Is I think Mac Jones can do that. And if you can do that, you're going to be successful at the next level. Again, I'm not saying he's going to be Burrow, Braze, or Brady, but if he can do that enough, he's going to be a competent quarterback at the next level. He's going to keep a job.
Yeah, I should probably watch more Mac Jones tape.
Like I said, for me, and I actually have to go because I have to be up at 3:30. So, but for me, it's Mac Jones. It's the throws that he makes. It's not the weapons around him, because I agree with you. The weapons around him are phenomenal, and you're going to make any quarterback look good. But when you watch the throws that he makes on tape, to me, they're NFL throws. He makes more NFL throws than he doesn't into tight windows. What was the one? There was the one, I think it was to Devonta Smith in the back of an end zone. Like it was an NFL throw. You don't see every quarterback making those throws. That's what separates him for me. That's what makes me think he can do it at the next level. Again, I still have him behind those top four, but he can still do it at the next level, in my opinion.
That's the show.
All right. I will talk to you guys later, and then I'll see I think both of you on Sunday, right?
Saturday.
I feel bad. Saturday. I'm sorry. Yeah, Saturday. I keep thinking Sunday for some reason because we usually do it on Sundays. Saturday.
I was going to say I hope it's Saturday because I told somebody I couldn't do something because of that.
Yeah. It'll be on Saturday.
Wow, Mr. Popular over here.
I know. I was like, all right, which college game am I not going to get to watch now because I have no friends?
Well, Zach Wilson's not playing this week, so I'm like,
I know. Well, neither are the Buckeyes now, so I've got nothing to do. I might actually, spend time with my wife and kids. Not that they want to spend time with me, but all right, guys.
Gentlemen. Talk to you later.
See you guys.